Okay, so have you ever, put yourself out there hoping to find that special connection, but then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is she really feeling it too?
That's like trying to read minds sometimes,
It really is. So you sent us this video called 5 Signs She's Not Into You, and I think it's perfect for a deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Because we can help people not just recognize those red flags,
Yeah,
but also understand, like, what's really going on.
absolutely. It's all psychology.
It is. Okay, let's start with the first sign. Lack of communication.
Oh, yeah, communication.
The video just hammers home this point that communication is...
It's the foundation.
It's the foundation of any relationship, especially in the beginning.
Especially in the early stages,
Yeah.
I think what's so interesting is that consistent effort, especially in the beginning, is often a much stronger indicator
Oh, interesting.
of genuine interest than grand gestures later on.
Okay, so you mean like those guys who disappear for 3 days and then show up with a bouquet?
Exactly, yeah. If someone is truly interested, they're going to prioritize communicating with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if it's just a quick text to say, hey, I'm thinking about you.
The video actually gives some specific examples, too, of what to look out for. Like if she's taking more than 24 hours to respond
Oh, yeah.
to your messages.
That's a pretty clear sign that you're not high on their priority list.
It's true, though, we all have busy lives
We do, but we all make time for the things
that matter.
that matter to us, right?
That's true. And what about like the one-word responses?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, cool. I swear getting a K back
Oh my
can
God.
be worse than an outright no.
Oh yeah, definitely. It feels like a conversation killer for sure. And what's interesting about that is it can actually be beyond disinterest. It can actually be a subtle form of like a power play almost,
Oh, wow.
a way of like kind of controlling the conversation and keeping you at arm's length a little bit.
Oh, that's a good point. So instead of us sitting here trying to decipher all these weird messages,
Yeah. Maybe we should just be looking for somebody who actually engages in the conversation.
absolutely someone who like reciprocates the effort and the energy you're putting in.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were putting in all this effort to communicate, but the other person just wasn't meeting you halfway? How did you handle that?
Well, it's tough, right?
Wow.
Because it makes you question your worth. But it ultimately, I think for me, came down to recognizing that I
Yeah.
deserved someone who valued communication as much as I did.
Right.
And someone who was willing to put in the effort to actually build a connection.
So true. Okay, what about this next sign? Flaking out. You make all these plans, you're so excited, and then bam, last minute cancellation.
Oh, man. That's such a disappointment. And, the source makes a really good point about distinguishing between
Yeah.
the occasional, unavoidable cancellation.
Huh.
Which we all have things come up sometimes.
Right.
Versus a consistent pattern of flakiness.
Because like all those vague excuses, something came up, not feeling well.
Sometimes it's just a smokescreen.
Totally. And what's really interesting, I think that sometimes it stems from like deeper things, like fear of commitment or avoidance patterns. They may be interested in you on some level,
Really?
but they're subconsciously like sabotaging the connection.
Oh, wow. So how do you tell the difference? Like between someone who's genuinely busy and someone who's just not that into us?
Well, I think you have to pay attention to their actions. Do they reschedule
Oh, good point.
with enthusiasm? Do they offer specific alternatives? Or is it just kind of vague and open-ended?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Someone who's truly interested is going to make an effort.
This next sign is a little more subtle, physical touch. The video talks about how it's a natural expression of attraction.
It is, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's important to emphasize we're talking about consensual,
Yeah, of course.
comfortable touch, within boundaries. It's about those subtle cues that signal like a level of comfort and connection.
Like a hug, hello, or goodbye. Maybe reaching for your hand.
Or just a light touch on the arm when you're laughing together.
Yes. And the video points out that someone who's not interested might stiffen up if you go for a hug or pull away from those touches.
Oh, yeah. It's like their body language is screaming personal space alert.
Right. Now, look, I'm not saying that everyone needs to be like touchy-feely right away. Some people take more time to warm up.
Sure.
But, if you've been on a few dates and there's consistently zero effort to initiate or reciprocate any kind of physical touch,
Yeah.
it might be a sign that the romantic spark
Isn't there?
isn't quite there.
Especially if you're seeing some of the other signs, too.
Exactly right. It's all about looking at the bigger picture.
I've definitely noticed that when someone is interested, they tend to initiate those touches themselves.
Totally. They might like playfully nudge you or like brush their hand against yours.
Yeah.
Or even just like lean in a little closer when you're talking. It's about those unconscious gestures.
Yeah, it's so true. Okay, let's tackle this next one. The dreaded friend zone. I think we've all been there. It can be brutal.
It can be. The video talks about how deflating it is to hear someone you're interested in refer to you as just a friend.
It's like the ultimate rejection disguised as a compliment.
Right, and psychologically, it's a way for them to like create that distance without having to outright reject you. The video lists some common phrases too. You're such a good friend.
Ugh.
You're like a brother to me.
Oh, I remember one time this guy that I was totally crushing on told me I was like the sister he never had. I wanted to crawl under a rock and die.
Oh man, yeah. And the video's pretty clear about it. Shifting that perception once you're in the friend zone is really, really difficult.
So have you ever found yourself in the friend zone? What were some of the signs and like how did you deal with it?
You know, I have. And looking back, I think the biggest sign was the lack of flirting or any romantic tension. It was just pure platonic friendship.
Yeah.
And as much as I like the person, I realized that, forcing something romantic would probably just ruin the friendship.
So sometimes it's just about accepting the relationship for what it is.
Yeah, and recognizing that you deserve to be with someone who sees you as a potential partner.
That's true, not just a friend.
Yeah.
All right, this last sign can be really hurtful.
Yeah.
Especially if you're already feeling kind of invested in the person. She's talking to other guys.
It can be a tough one to swallow. It often feels like this direct comparison or competition.
Right, and the video says that it basically sends a clear message that she's not prioritizing you romantically.
Totally. And I think it's about where her energy and attention are directed. If she's constantly bringing up other guys,
Yeah.
whether it's discussing crushes or venting about exes, no.
Right.
It's a sign that you're not occupying that romantic space in her mind.
The video even talks about like trying to make you jealous by talking about other guys.
Which honestly can be a sign of immaturity or game playing. Remember, healthy relationships are built on trust and respect.
So true. So how do you navigate this? If you're seeing someone and they're constantly bringing up other guys, do you say something? Or do you just back away slowly?
I think it depends on the situation and how invested you are in the person.
Okay.
If it's early on and you're not that emotionally attached, it might be easier to just distance yourself and pursue other options.
Yeah.
But if you've been dating for a while and have developed feelings, it might be worth having an honest conversation about how their behavior is making you feel.
So communication is key.
Yeah, it really is.
Hmm.
Because open and honest communication is the foundation of any healthy relationship. It's about expressing your needs and expectations and seeing if you're both on the same page.
All right, so let's pause here for now. I want you to really think about how these signs might be playing out in your own dating life.
And we'll be back in part 2 to explore what these signs really mean for you and how to use this knowledge to make more informed decisions in your dating journey.
That's a great idea.
It's interesting how these seemingly small signs can really reveal a lot about someone's true intentions
Oh, yeah.
and level of interest. It's like there are these little puzzle pieces, and when you start putting them together,
Yeah.
you get a much clearer picture of the situation.
And sometimes that picture is not what we want to see,
Right.
but at least we're seeing it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Recognizing those red flags early on can save us so much heartache
Yeah.
and wasted energy. I think all of these signs point to one big idea:
Okay.
self-respect. It's about recognizing your own worth and understanding that you deserve to be with someone
Yeah.
who is enthusiastically and genuinely interested in you.
Not someone who leaves us hanging and wondering, like, what's going on?
Exactly. And the video really emphasizes that. It's not about decoding someone's disinterest.
Right.
It's about recognizing when to walk away and find someone
Yes.
who makes their interest clear.
Oh, so instead of obsessing over those one-word texts or trying to figure out why she canceled again, we should be focusing our energy on finding someone who sends thoughtful messages.
Yes.
Plans dates in advance, actually wants to spend time with us.
Exactly. Someone who is excited to be with you, who values your time and makes you feel special.
Wouldn't that be so much better
Oh, absolutely.
than constantly trying to decipher mixed signals?
Right. It's about moving from a place of uncertainty and doubt to a place of confidence and self-assuredness.
It's funny. I used to think that finding love was all about playing it cool,
Oh, yeah.
not showing too much interest.
Right.
But the more I learn about relationships, the more I realize that authenticity is key.
I totally agree. When you're authentically yourself, You attract people who appreciate you for who you truly are.
Right. Flaws and all.
Flaws and all, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about some practical steps
Okay.
to make sure we're not wasting time on
Yeah.
people who just aren't that into us. How can we start looking for people who are truly excited to be with us?
Well, I think first and foremost, pay attention to those early signs, those red flags we discussed earlier. Lack of communication, flakiness, avoiding physical touch, constantly talking about other guys, friend zoning you.
Yeah.
Those are all indicators that someone might not be as invested as you are.
We need to trust our gut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trust your intuition. It's usually right. We often have this sense when something's not quite right.
What about when you're really into someone
Yeah.
and you're hoping things will change, even though you see some of these red flags?
It's hard, but it's important to remember that you can't change someone's feelings.
Oh, that's so true.
Right. And the more you try to push or convince them, the more you might end up hurting yourself in the process.
So instead of trying to win them over,
Yeah.
we should focus on finding someone who already appreciates us.
Exactly. And that starts with knowing your worth and setting standards for how you want to be treated.
It's about recognizing we deserve to be with someone who's excited to be with us,
Yes.
not someone we have to convince.
100%.
I think that's such an important point. We get so caught up in the chase
Yeah,
or the idea of someone
totally.
that we lose sight of what we actually deserve.
Right. And sometimes the hardest but most empowering thing you can do is walk away from a situation
Yeah,
that isn't serving you.
even if it hurts.
Even if it hurts, because you're making space for something better to come into your life.
So if someone's canceling plans, not responding, making us feel like we're not a priority,
Yeah.
we need to just
Walk away.
walk away.
Because you deserve better than that. You deserve someone who is excited to see you, who values your time, and who makes you feel good about yourself.
I love that. It's like shifting our focus from settling for crumbs
Yes.
to demanding the whole loaf.
You deserve the whole loaf. And trust me, when you start demanding the whole loaf,
Yeah,
you'll be amazed at the incredible people
show up.
that show up in your life.
Yeah.
The video ends by saying, instead of focusing on decoding disinterest, look for people who enthusiastically and consistently show their interest.
Because a genuine connection shouldn't feel like a puzzle to solve.
It should feel natural, effortless, and mutually fulfilling.
Wouldn't that be so much more satisfying than trying to win someone over?
Absolutely, 100%. When you find that kind of connection, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's easy, it's fun, and it makes you feel good about yourself.
It's like this weight is lifted off your shoulders.
Exactly.
You can just be yourself.
Right. And one of the most beautiful things about finding a truly reciprocal connection is that it allows you to grow and evolve as an individual.
Because you feel safe and supported.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that kind of love is truly transformative.
So as we wrap up this part, I want you to think about this idea. Shifting your focus from deciphering disinterest to recognizing genuine interest.
And remember, you are worthy of love. You deserve to be with someone who makes you happy, and you don't have to settle for anything less.
Now we've covered a lot today.
We have.
So in part 3, we're going to talk about some practical tips and strategies for actually putting all this into action.
Love that. We'll talk about how to build your confidence, set healthy boundaries, and ultimately attract the kind of love you deserve.
Okay, so we've talked about the signs she's not into you, the importance of self-respect and recognizing genuine interest.
Right.
But how do you actually apply all of this to your dating life?
That's the key, right? It's one thing to understand the concepts, but it's another to actually put them into action.
Exactly. So let's start with confidence.
Okay.
I think it's safe to say that confidence is super attractive,
Oh, yeah.
but it can be hard to feel confident when you're constantly facing rejection or feeling unsure about where you stand with someone.
It's true. Confidence really is magnetic, though, and I think it comes from a place of, self-awareness and self-acceptance.
No.
Knowing your strengths, embracing your flaws,
Yeah.
being comfortable in your own skin.
So how do we cultivate that kind of unshakable confidence, especially in the world of dating?
Well, I think it starts with focusing on yourself,
Okay.
investing in your own growth and happiness.
What do you mean?
What are you passionate about? What makes you feel alive? Pursuing those interests.
Yeah.
Taking care of your physical and mental health.
Okay.
Surrounding yourself with positive people. All of that can do wonders for your self-esteem.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you feel good about yourself, it radiates outwards.
Right.
Like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. And when you're confident and secure in yourself, you're less likely to settle for less than you deserve
Yeah.
or tolerate disrespectful behavior.
Which brings us to boundaries.
Oh, yeah?
The video didn't explicitly mention boundaries, but I think it's a crucial part of like navigating dating and relationships in general.
Absolutely. Boundaries are essential for protecting your emotional well-being and ensuring that you're being treated with respect.
So how do you go about setting those boundaries? I think it can be really hard, especially if you're a people pleaser or you're worried about like pushing someone away.
It's true. It can be tough.
Uh,
But I think it starts with identifying your non-negotiables,
okay.
the values and behaviors that are absolutely essential for you in a relationship.
Like, give us an example.
For example, if consistent communication is super important to you,
Yeah.
make it clear that you expect regular check-ins and responsiveness.
Yeah.
If someone consistently disrespects your time or makes you feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to voice your concerns or walk away from the situation.
And I imagine the more you practice setting boundaries,
Yes.
easier it gets.
It does become second nature.
So we've talked about confidence boundaries. How about attracting the kind of love we deserve? Is there a secret formula?
I don't think there's a magic formula, but there are definitely things you can do to increase your chances of finding a compatible partner.
Okay, spill the tea.
Okay, well, first and foremost, be authentically yourself.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah, don't try to be someone you're not or pretend to like things you don't just to impress someone.
Yeah.
The right person will appreciate you for who you truly are.
So if you hate hiking, don't pretend to love it just because he's an outdoorsman.
Exactly. Embrace your quirks and your interests.
Yeah.
And also be clear about what you're looking for. If you're looking for a serious, committed relationship,
Yeah.
don't waste your time on people who are only interested in casual dating.
How do you figure out what they're looking for, though? It's so awkward to have those define the relationship conversations.
I know, it can be, but it's important to be on the same page.
Right.
You can start by casually mentioning your relationship goals early on,
Okay.
just to kind of gauge their reaction.
Got it.
See if your visions align.
So instead of playing coy,
Yeah,
just be upfront about what you want.
absolutely. Remember, you're not asking for a lifetime commitment on the first date,
Right.
but it's okay to be open and honest about your intentions.
So be authentic, be clear about what you want, and don't settle.
Yeah.
What else can we do to put ourselves out there?
Well, think about your social circles and hobbies.
Yeah.
Are you surrounding yourself with people who share your values and interests? Are you engaged in activities that bring you joy and connect you with like-minded individuals?
So join that pottery class, volunteer at the animal shelter.
Exactly. Put yourself out there, expand your social circles, and you never know who you might meet.
That's true. And in this digital age, we can't forget about online dating.
Online dating.
I know it can be a bit of a minefield, but it's undeniable. That's how a lot of people are dating these days.
It definitely has its pros and cons, but I think the key is to approach it with a positive mindset
Okay.
and a clear sense of what you're looking for.
So craft a profile that reflects your authentic self, be upfront about your goals, and don't be afraid to swipe left
Absolutely.
on those who don't align with your values.
100%. And remember, online dating is a numbers game.
Yeah,
Don't take it personally if you don't match with everyone or if conversations fizzle out.
that's a good point.
Just keep putting yourself out there and stay open to possibilities.
I love that. Stay open to possibilities.
Yeah.
Because when you're confident, you set boundaries, and you're clear about what you want, you create space for something amazing
You do.
to come into your life.
And remember, the journey to finding love is just as important as the destination.
Oh, that's good.
Enjoy the process, learn from your experiences, and never give up on finding the kind of connection you deserve.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
It's been my pleasure. I hope this has given you some valuable takeaways and like a renewed sense of hope
Yes.
and excitement for your dating journey.
And to all of you listening, remember, you are worthy of love. You deserve to be happy, and the right person will not only make their interests clear, but will also meet you with the same level of enthusiasm and commitment that you bring to the table. Don't settle for anything less.